Hey there, I'm Kevin. Welcome back. It's a new year, it's a new decade, and it's time to start anew. Or maybe it's time to just adjust your routine a little bit. So, whether you're new to the instrument or you've been playing for a while, or maybe you have a uke and it's kind of been sitting in the case and you've been thinking to yourself, I really want to play this, but sometimes it's difficult to kind of set goals and intentions for yourself to really get into playing and really figuring out how to improve. So we're starting a new series here that's going to be based on playing a little bit every day, kind of building a foundation and then taking measures every day to kind of chip away at your goals. What I really want to talk about first is how to set goals, how to set intentions, and how to set tangible goals, more importantly, so that you can achieve them. As I start this new year, the first thing I like to do is kind of take a couple of key words and write them big on a piece of paper, and I stick that piece of paper on the wall right in front of my desk or someplace where I can see it. Maybe it's in my planner, maybe it's in my phone, maybe it's somewhere where I can just see it all the time. The two things that I came up with for this year are gratitude and consistency. So consistency for me is going to be setting a little routine and sticking to that routine every day. I'm not talking about spending 2 hours a day doing something. I'm talking about spending 5 minutes. So I think we can all agree that we're busy, we're doing different things, but we can always find 5 minutes to do something. Think about maybe 5 minutes that you're scrolling on social media, mindless activities that you do sometimes. Well, that could be substituted with this little guy here, and I think that's going to bring you a lot better mental stimulation and just a lot better vibe and juju in your life. So consistency is the first thing, and then gratitude is my second phrase. And with gratitude, I say that as being grateful for every day, being grateful that I get to play this instrument every day and that this instrument is going to bring me happiness, joy, or just a little soothing of the soul after the workday, or maybe it's a good way for you to start the day. So phase one here, goals and intentions. Now that you have that, how do we put this into action? So goals are great and we all talk about them. And every time a new year comes, I think we set some of these intentions and goals. And a lot of times by midway through the year, we've kind of forgotten what they are. What I like to do is I try to really make them tangible and put them into practice. Now, practice doesn't have to be this scary term like, getting your wrist slapped to play piano. Practice can just be playing. Now, with playing, that's kind of a disorganized concept though. You can always sit down and play your ukulele, but are you really actually achieving anything? What I like to do to kind of get around that is pick one thing to work on. So every day I pick one specific task that I want to achieve. It might be finger picking, it might be strumming, it might be a chord change that I'm really having a hard time with. So picking one thing to work on for that 5-minute increment is going to take you a lot further than kind of having unfocused practice or just kind of not having any intention at all and just kind of aimlessly playing. The second part of this equation is have this in your sights. I think a big problem is we have a uke, we put it in our case, and that case sits somewhere, and we don't see this beautiful instrument sitting here in front of us that's going to kind of tantalize us into wanting to play it. So maybe that's the first thing you adjust this year is keeping your ukulele in your sights. Put it on a wall hanger, put it someplace where you're going to see it, and then make an area for yourself where you dedicate your practice. Is that somewhere in a room or your study with some plants and stuff like that like we have here? Or is it in your kitchen where you drink your coffee? I don't know. That place can be different for everybody, but I think the important thing to take from that is you want to have a space that's yours, that feels comfortable, where it's going to cater itself to, having a nice practice routine, someplace that when you go there, you know that it's time to practice/play. All right, so the way we're going to structure these videos is kind of the same way that I structure my practice routine. Now, you might want to vary yours a little bit from what I do, but I just want to kind of give you a good foundation to work from. So the concepts that we'll talk about are A, warming up. I think the biggest thing before you practice that I found is very helpful is to make sure that your fingers are warmed up. So we'll talk about some of the things we can do to kind of get our strumming hand and our fretting hand warmed up before we even practice. That's number one. Second, what we're going to do is pick one thing to work on. So I think having a focused practice is one of the most important concepts to talk about here. Picking one thing to work on, and maybe you work on that one thing for a week and you just keep reiterating it to yourself. By the time that it gets so comfortable to you that you're not thinking about it anymore, you really have that concept down. Beyond that, we'll take that one thing and we'll put it into maybe a chord progression. Maybe it's a strumming thing. Maybe it's a finger picking thing. But we're going to take that concept and we're going to spend a few minutes kind of using that concept in a situation, maybe like a song or something like that, so you can try it out. And then last, in these videos, we will talk about your questions and comments. So if you have comments and questions about anything that we're talking about, or if you want to share what your intentions are, what your catchphrases are going to be, leave those in the comments. And each video, we'll talk about them at the end, and maybe just kind of just give a general question that I see a lot in the comments and answer that for you guys to help you just have more of an understanding, clear some things up for you as you play. So again, this series is going to cover goals, setting intentions, how to practice, and then give you some chance to do that. So you have 5 minutes just to practice with me every day, kind of just keep improving a little bit, chipping away every day playing ukulele. So thanks again for joining me. I can't wait to share this series with you. Go to allforuke.com where I have PDFs for all of these videos for you that we're going to have laid out, exercises for each day that you can work on and help yourself improve. Starting anew here in the new decade, the new year with All for Uke. Thank you so much. I can't wait to start working with you.